Hi everyone, this is Julianne Victoria. Welcome to my channel. So in this video, I want to talk a little bit about Mercury. It'll probably be a pretty quick video for Mr. Quicksilver, but I want to talk about a few things sort of to unsensationalize some of the things Mercury does in astrology, in your chart, in the sky. And I'm talking about this because it's come up quite a bit in client readings and people have asked questions. So often when things keep coming at me, I know it's time to make a video. So first of all, let's talk about Mercury retrograde. So Mercury goes retrograde this month of May on the 28th or 29th until June 22nd, 23rd. So a little over 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks, almost 4 weeks. Mercury retrogrades, most people have probably heard whoa, don't do anything, slow down. It is true, they're not the best times to start new things, but that doesn't apply to everybody. I find Mercury retrograde periods really great times, but they are excellent times to revisit and redo things that you need to redo. But they're not the, oh, watch out, don't do anything times for everyone that is often sensationalized. People who feel Mercury retrogrades most tend to be mercurial people who have Gemini or Virgo ascendant, or Gemini or Virgo moon, sometimes the sun, but I've seen it most in client readings with the ascendant and the moon. And this applies to Western or Vedic astrology. Or you have a stellium in Gemini or Virgo because those two signs are ruled by Mercury. But not everyone feels Mercury retrogrades, right? So it's not like the whole world stops. 7+ billion people don't start anything new for those 3 to 4 weeks of retrogrades. And so I just want to point that out that, yeah, if you have a choice to not start something new and you notice that you tend to have, those communications, letters returning, tech glitches during Mercury retrogrades, okay, keep that in mind. But don't fear them. I guess that's my message. Don't be afraid of Mercury retrogrades, and you can take advantage of it. I'm a big proponent of using the astrology to your advantage. That's what your birth chart is there for. It's your map for life. So use them as opportune times to rewrite things, redo things, re-hook up your internet if it's been wonky. Anything that starts with redo, retrograde. Retrogrades also happen 3 times a year for 3 to 4 weeks. So approximately 3 months out of the year, 1/4 of the year is Mercury retrogrades. And if you look at it from that perspective, to take 3 months of the year to not start anything new, to be afraid to do stuff. I mean, I knew an astrologer who was so afraid of Mercury retrograde, she would not put her car in reverse and she would not step backwards at all during Mercury retrogrades. And I feel that is very extreme. So look at it from a broader perspective. If it's hitting something significant in your chart and you know that, then work with the astrology and make it work for you. Another thing that's come up a lot recently concerning Mercury is Mercury combustion. So planets are said to be combust when they're within a certain number of degrees, and it varies by planet, within the sun. So Mercury is combust within 14 degrees of the sun. I believe it's 12 degrees if it's going retrograde, but in general, it's when Mercury's within 14 degrees of the sun, it's technically said to be combust. And when a planet is combust, I mean, it's kind of what it sounds like. It's like its energy is burnt out by the sun. Now, Mercury is always within 28 degrees of the sun. So Mercury is never more than a whole sign away from the sun, but within 28 degrees on either side of the sun, because Mercury is closest to the sun in the sky in our solar system. So Mercury is combust maybe half the time, approximately half the time. So when I do readings and someone says, oh, I had a reading by so-and-so and they really talked about my combust Mercury, it's somewhat significant, but it's not the sensationalized huge thing. Usually, of course, it depends on the chart, but it's usually not that big of a concern. So let's just say Mercury is combust 50% of the time. It's going to be approximate because there's retrogrades and all that stuff going on. That means half the people in the world would have a combust Mercury in their natal chart. And Mercury representing the intellect, that doesn't mean half the people in the world have a combust intellect, right? So you have to look at it from a broader perspective, from looking at the technical astronomical reality, whether you're looking at from a Western perspective or the Vedic perspective, and don't throw common sense out the window. Okay, what else did I want to talk about? Kazimi. I didn't write this part down. Mercury. So kazimi is when a planet is exactly conjoined the sun, basically. So Mercury goes kazimi. So we're approaching eclipse season. We have the lunar eclipse on the 26th. Double check my date. Yeah, May 26th. And the solar eclipse on June 10th. So when we have the solar eclipse on June 10th, of course, Mercury is going to be close to eclipses, the sun side of eclipses at all times because he's close to the sun. When we reach the solar eclipse in June, again, June 10th, Mercury is right after it. Mercury goes kazimi, which completely 100% conjoin the sun. So eclipses are powerful times. They often can trigger changes. They can close chapters and open new ones. They can also be very powerful times that bring in opportunities. And when Mercury is kazimi is also a very powerful time. Of course, it's 100% combust at the same time. And sometimes things in astrology contradict. But a new moon, solar eclipse, kazimi Mercury can be a very potent sign and time to, let's say it this way, to work your magic, to put the energy out there of something you want to begin, of an opportunity you want to arise. So take advantage of astrology. It's there for us to use for our own individual guidance and figuring out what to do next if we have a question, right? It's our soul's gift to us, or you could say God's gift to us. Here's this roadmap, your natal chart. Here are transits that are always happening to kind of give you ideas of what is best or opportune to do at a certain time, and maybe what should be delayed at certain times or not pursued at certain times. But don't let sensationalizing of things, on YouTube and horoscopes and general astrology bring in fear or anything else it might bring in. Because eclipses, it's always like, oh, the most profound eclipse of your life, or the biggest eclipse of the century, or it's a supermoon, this coming lunar eclipse. Watch out, it's Mercury retrograde. I want to say, don't let that become fear-mongering, and just step back, look at it from a broader perspective, do some research, some studying, talk to an astrologer. What does this mean for me and my own natal chart, or where I am, or in relation to your sun if you don't have a natal chart or natal chart reading? What does this mean for me? And how can I take advantage and work with this energy to bring in more positive things or powerful and opportunistic things into my life? Okay, so that's just my little Mercury spiel. And remember this, Mercury is also the trickster. Have fun with Mercury's energy. Play with the transits that are going on. And then I think Mercury can play out much more beneficially than fearing the retrogrades and worrying about combustion. Yeah, or suicidal kazimi, right? Take Mercury's trickster, playful energy and play with it yourself. Okay, that's all I have to say. Thank you guys for watching and listening to this. I guess it's a pseudo rant. enjoy, play with the Mercury retrograde coming up, enjoy the eclipse energy, use them as opportune times to bring about changes you want. Yeah, and see what unfolds.